Good morning, guys. Today we're going to talk about what is copyright law. The definition to copyright law refers to the legal rights to an original work. So say someone like J.K. Rowling, she writes this great book and she sells millions of copies and makes so much money. How do we ensure and make sure someone is not going to steal her work or take it and say that it is theirs? Copyright laws prevent people from owning someone else's work, and they protect that creator and their original work. So here are a few things to keep in mind. Fair use. This is an exception to teachers and students. One of the things to keep in mind when discussing copyright laws is that, yes, the law protects the original work and the creator of that original work, but there's also some exceptions to how we borrow and use some of their work. And this is an exception to teachers and students like you and myself. So we are allowed to use small portions if we properly cite it and note it, if we give credit to the person who invented it, created it originally. So if we took the very first page of the Harry Potter book, book 1, first page, and I was going to teach you inferencing or imagery, I would be able to make that one page with the 3 paragraphs on it and disperse it to you and teach from it, because I am coming from a point of using it to teach you about something, not because I'm taking it to make it my own and not hers. So that is one exception for teachers and students. Under fair use, we have the nature of the copy. The only time we're allowed to use the copy of that material if it's for educational purposes. I cannot use it for anything else. I cannot make a copy and try to recreate that page and change things on that page, characters or ideas, and then retype it and make copies and then hand them out to teach you something. If I'm going to use it for educational purposes, it has to be specifically that work without me changing anything and using it for the purpose of just educating you on an idea or a topic or a skill. And that is it. Another thing to keep in mind when talking about being fair and how we use other people's work is that if we are going to use their work, a small portion of it, we cannot use it for profit or to gain anything from it, money or entertainment. It cannot be used for those purposes. It must be used only, and you think about it, teachers and students, if this is what it can be used for, it's only used then in learning. That is the only thing that it can be used for. Another subheading under fair use is that we can only use a small amount of someone's work. That is okay, but we cannot use a significant, huge amount of their work. So if I was going to use J.K. Rowling's first page with the 3 paragraphs, that would be okay, but I would not be able to make copies of the first 30 or 40 pages and each of y'all get 30 or 40 pages, because now it's almost like I'm distributing her copies and I'm doing something else with it, because why would you need to make copies of that many, right? So if I'm using it to teach a skill, I don't need 30 or 40 pages to teach a skill. I only need that one, unless I bought the book and we had some kind of fundraiser to get the book, because it's published and you get it from Barnes and Nobles or Amazon or half price. But if I myself go and make a copy of the whole book or half the book and disperse it out to you, that is wrong. It's not right. You cannot do that. That there is nothing fair in that. That is her work. So that is something under fair use that we cannot do. Get out of here. Again, I have to reiterate this. Using it for educational purposes only, and no intent to replace the original work. If your intention is not to replace the original work, then you are okay. And you're not using a whole bunch of her work. You're using a very minimal, the bare minimal amount for educational purpose, then that is considered fair use for the public, for educators, and for teachers. Let me go into the next important idea. Sorry, there it is. Seeking permission. So, in order to get permission from, say, J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter, and being able to access her material or use her material, we as citizens must seek permission. I know that on the internet now, people can just click here, click there. You don't know who owns this website. Sometimes you don't know who posted this on YouTube. You don't know with TikTok who's doing this all the time. You don't know. Everything just seems like because it's on the internet, it's just free access and open to anyone to copy and keep. But it's not. You must always ask permission when using someone else's material. Especially, I mean, you have not created it. That is not fair. That is not right. You cannot do that. One way to seek permission is to ask. Being specific, keeping record and fees. So one of the things you would want to do when asking J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, her publisher, the one who prints all her books, anytime you're going to interact with a publisher, you want to keep a record of everything that you're saying to them and everything that they're saying to you, so nothing gets confusing. So no more than when you go down the hall and ask a teacher or a librarian or wherever you are in the school building, I need to go to the office, I need to go use the restroom. We keep record of that so we know where you're at, we're responsible for you, and if something were to happen, we have the time and the date of where you were at that time. It is sort of the same. It is always good to keep note and record of what's going on so you don't forget anything important, so there's no confusion, and everybody can just remain on good terms at that point. I don't know. When seeking a publisher's permission, it's important to realize they can charge you what they want to charge you. This is a publisher. They are a big company. There are rules, and nothing is going to be given for free. And they pretty much will not let you or respond to your request if there is no payment. Some payments can be negotiable. However, usually when you're asking for something within the publishing sphere, if you're dealing with J.K. Rowling, and I use that example because it is so well known, and the Harry Potter author and her books, and you're going to call them and you want to use her work, you should expect them to ask a small fee, possibly to use any of their material. It's courteous and important to know that if you change your mind about using material, to let the publisher or the company of that, the author, whoever they are using, that you let them know, because it's your reputation, your school's reputation. You are, as a student, as a librarian, as an educator, you are representing a body or an organization. And under copyright law, I mean, you have to ask permission from the publisher. And in a sense, you want the communication to be clear. You want them to be able to trust you and have that relationship with you, just like a friend. So if you change your mind or if you have questions, it's important that you let the publisher know right away so they can help you or make a good decision before anything is exchanged. Again, being as specific as you can, making sure they know the exact page numbers and amount you would like to use or borrow. This is all important in communication with the publisher. And a lot of people don't know that, this is a professional profession that you are dealing with. And it's important. Some 3 important things to keep in mind as well when you're dealing with copyright law. It's not just about fair use. It's not just about dealing with publishers and making sure you ask permission. Yes, this is someone's original work, whether it's an artist, a musician, an author, a poet. And yes, some of it is fair game, but very, very little, as you can see in this PowerPoint that I'm presenting to you. You can only borrow a little bit, and it has to be for educational purposes, very minimal. And when you're dealing with something more, you must seek permission from the publisher. On top of this, you cannot, it is against the law, and this is part of the copyright law to protect the original artist. You cannot change the format or material. So I don't know if you know what a VHS is, but it's the little videos we used to stick in a long time ago, or we went from tape to CD. Exactly. You cannot change that CD to VHS or VHS to CD. You can't change anything into digital format or on your web page without the permission from that artist's publisher. These are all important. Copyrights also protect the format. They protect all of these things. So it's very important under the copyright law that you understand, again, the definition. Copyright law refers to the legal rights to an original work. This is the rights to that person's original, their very first, their own, what they created, their work. It has to do with fair use. Yes, you have some, but really not a lot. You can just use a little bit, and it has to be for educational purposes for teachers and students. You must seek permission, and the minor 3 things to keep in mind. You cannot change the format. You must ask permission for about everything. And that is the right thing to do. It is their work, and it really protects them, so no one else can claim that it is theirs. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this PowerPoint.